morning. You reached the Office of the Seniors Advocate. Sue speaking. How can we help you?
Hi there. I'm sorry. I didn't catch your name.
My name is Sue.
Oh, Sue. How are you this morning, Sue?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. And how are you doing today?
Well, I'm an elder, and I need to report abuse against myself, and my name is Victoria.
Right, okay. Right, and what area of the province are you in, Victoria, please?
I'm in the area of Victoria.
Okay, good.
And I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but across Canada, vulnerable people are having their land and their homes stolen. And that happened to my family. Right at the beginning of COVID, I was forced out of my home during a ban on forced eviction. And I was left homeless and penniless by the assailants who did steal my family's home through application and title fraud.
Oh, gosh.
It has been a nightmare ever since. I did report the crimes before they occurred, while they were occurring, and I have since repeatedly and consistently gone to the proper criminal justice system authorities, and as such, instead of being helped, they have turned around and now I have been terrorized for just countless years by, persons who are identifying as police. And in the last 10 months, I have been assaulted by SWAT. You know what a SWAT team is? Like, it's the big guns.
Yeah.
We're talking automatic weapons. We're talking, like, excessive force, police brutality. And right now, I am black and blue from head to toe from what happened last Thursday, because what the police did was they laid charges that are not true, so they fabricated evidence. And then these other individuals who are representing the province of British Columbia then are moving these matters forward into the public, which is, it's humiliating and degrading, and I know they're not true because I'm the only woman between all of them involved in this that knows, I have firsthand knowledge of what's actually occurring here. And I have provided so the first SWAT team attack was outside my home last year, August the 29th, 2024. Now, when you're being assaulted, you have the right to defend yourself. And I had, my spouse and I both had a car. My spouse's car was stolen during the theft of our home. And then I had a little car that I was in last August outside my home to take my home back from the trespassers, because what's happening is mortgage fraud on the land and on the home. It's a real problem across Canada, actually, mortgage fraud. You've got $100 million in fraudulent mortgages in operation right now across the country. So I'm not just making things up, like I'm actually quite knowledgeable about what I'm talking about because it's happening, because you think you're going crazy. And so for me to not think that I'm going crazy, I start to research, am I the only one that this is happening to? Is this an isolated incident? And it isn't. $100 million in fraudulent mortgages across the country. So I'm sorry, Sue, let me go back to where I was at last August on the 29th. I'm in peace. I'm a peaceful woman. I've never caused disturbance to the peace. That's not who I am. I do not want to disturb the neighbors, because my spouse and I lived in that home from August of 2003. So we were there for a very, very long time. That was our home. And I was there peacefully. I just needed the trespassers to leave. I needed the keys to the house. This is not going to be, I just need you to do what I'm asking you to do, because I'm the trustee of the trust, and this is in trust property. And so it's my job to protect not only the beneficiaries, but all the trust property, which my spouse left. And so this is like protected property. And all of a sudden, I'm telling you, it was, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a SWAT team that comes and they box you in, and I'm in my little car and I'm alone, and they're barking at me to get out. But I know that they're there to steal my car. That's the last thing I have. I don't have anything left. And so I can't get out, because I can't aid and abet their crimes. Section 21 of the Criminal Code of Canada makes it quite clear that if you do anything to aid and abet anyone, either do it or not do it, to aid and abet someone in committing a crime, you are then part and parcel to that crime. You become an aider and abetter. And so I know I can't get out. I'm in fear for my life. They're going to kidnap me and do, I'm a woman in my 50s, so I can't have this. Like, I can't have you coming with a SWAT team, making a scene in front of my home because I need my home back, because I'm homeless and destitute and you won't help me. And so I can't get out. Like, I can't get out of my little girl. I can't get out of her because I'm about to be assaulted. So I have the right to resist because I have the right to protect my life in Canada, the common law, and it's actually written in the BC Police Act that their duty is to protect life and property, and they're doing neither. I'm in fear for my life, and I keep telling them no. I caught it on Instagram Live. I have got a half an hour of myself explaining to them, listen, you're breaking the law. Like, you're violating the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 7 and Section 12. And so I don't consent to what you're doing. I can't get out. I don't want you to rob me. I don't have any money to get her out if you do steal her and put her somewhere else. And so what did they do? 2 of them had deadly weapons, and they smashed in not only the window beside where I'm sitting, but they went to the other side, and the passenger side back window they smashed in. They just completely demolished her. And then they assaulted me, they put me in a cage for overnight, and then they laid false charges. They said that I'm criminally harassing the individuals who are in possession of stolen property, because that's what's happening. Like, my home was used for 1 year for what would have to be, we've got a real problem with money laundering in the province of British Columbia, and the BC real estate and the BC casinos are how this money is being laundered. And so that's why my family's home was stolen in March of 2020, because within that year, those who have it are then passing it off to real estate investors. And now my family's single-family dwelling is now being used as a commercial property for real estate investors to generate passive income. And so I know all about this because I went and did a land title search and found out, what's happening to my family's home. And that's why I know so much about what I'm telling you. I'm not going to call you up and not have any type of rock solid testimony for you, because that would be wasting your time, and I certainly don't want to do that to you. You don't deserve that. And so I get invited back. I look at all the documents I've been handed last August, because now I'm involved in a matter I shouldn't be involved in. This is an act of fraud on the court. You've fabricated evidence. Now you're committing perjury. There is no victim. There is no crime. I'm now the victim of the crime, and now you're accusing me of being the criminal. So they're accusing me of criminal harassment, which isn't true, and now they also accuse me of willfully resisting, which you have every right to defend yourself against any type of attack, so that's not true either. So I looked at all the paperwork, and it says right on there, unless you have it says lawful excuses. Well, I'm not going to provide any excuses to anyone. I have lawful reasons of why I can't partake in your malicious prosecution. You're wasting public resources. You're supposed to be the criminal justice system, and yet you're not proving yourselves to be criminals. So you can't go around wasting, you've got a real problem with crime increasing in Canada here. And the criminals, the actual real criminals, don't actually seem to be, there's no appropriate punishment if they have done something that really has victimized someone else or their property. So, I can't be a part of any of that. So, last year, before the next court date, I provide to the proper persons lawful reasons. I have lawful reasons of why I can't partake in what you're doing. Section 21 of the Criminal Code of Canada. And I have charter rights. Those are guaranteed rights in Canada. What you're doing is this is cruel and unusual treatment. And I don't deserve this. I've been through enough in my life. And so I started doing that, and they just completely ignore me. They're not listening. They don't want to be respectful. I don't know how else to get them to listen. And so then last November, they're back again with a SWAT team. inside a building where the public is supposed to have peace and enjoyment, and they can't because the entire hallway is filled with automatic weapons and break-in instruments. I mean, you should have seen it. It was the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen because I'm not armed, I'm not dangerous, I've never, ever had mental health issues, I'm not a danger to myself, I'm not a danger to anyone else. But because I said no, because I said I can't partake in what you're doing, they have just doubled down. And now last Thursday, again, they're back in the building with a SWAT team. And this time, I have to defend myself. Like, you're not going to torture me again. Like, I've told you many times that you are committing a crime. You have no basis for your actions. I'm not going to have myself abused this way anymore. I mean, they're abusing me on every level. Every level a woman can be abused. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. Like, I'm not going to have that. Every aspect of abuse you could possibly imagine, they are doing this to me. And so, of course, the other problem for me is that none of these individuals who I end up them and being forced into conversations with, because once you're taken into custody, you then are speaking to three. There is an administrative clerk, acting as the court. There is a crown prosecutor, and then there's a defense attorney. Now, not one of them has first-hand knowledge of what's going on here. And last Thursday evening, after they came at 11 o'clock in the morning, so I'm a small woman, I'm petite, I'm thin, I'm in my 50s, I can't be sitting in an ice-cold room, I've got you in a cage. I resisted last week, so I am black and blue from head to toe. One of the assailants had me on the ground and put their full weight into my back. They had his knee on my back, so it feels like I've been slammed like with a 2x4 across my back. After they did get me into the cage, before that, one of the public servants says to me, "I am the law." Well, I'm thinking to myself, well, no, you're not, because you're lawless. Like, I told you no. And in Canada, we're governed by consent. Like, in Canada, you are both governed and both policed by consent. Like, they have to have your consent to do anything to you. Like, they can't just go around running ramshot and, committing crime against people that they hate. I mean, especially a woman, for crying out loud, and an elder. It's just beyond the pale of scope of, like, what could happen to someone who's supposed to be, well, you're vulnerable. I'm a widow. I'm a woman. Like, this is what happens when this can't be happening. So I asked multiple times for medical care. They refuse. I asked multiple times to speak to a sergeant or the chief, Dean Duffy. They just absolutely stonewall me. They won't even tell me what's happening. They won't even tell me what's going on. Like what?
Right.
So at 7:30 at night.
That's unusual, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, they just hate me. I mean, SWAT team 3 times in 10 months for a petite woman, like, who is vulnerable and left homeless and destitute because fraudsters moved in, took over as role as the trustee is what they did, took over the role of the beneficiaries, and stole everything. $700,000 they stole. And so last Thursday, I finally get to the point where, okay, well, now we're having a conversation. I'm forced into another conversation where I'm being threatened that if you don't come to court and you don't deal with this and blah, 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 we're going to put you in jail and we are going to have this matter heard. Basically, we're going to railroad you without your input. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, so now you're uttering threats, now you're menacing, now this is common nuisance. I'm now in fear I've been in fear for my life for a long time. But you can't, because I've said to you, here's the lawful reasons I can't partake in this. You're committing crime. This is an act of fraud on the court. This is a malicious prosecution. That's what they're doing to me. And so I don't hand over my power of attorney to anyone else, right? They want you to have a representative. Well, I don't believe in that, because that representative then, it becomes hearsay. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you have someone in the middle, if I tell that individual what's going on, and then they go and speak that. That's basically hearsay, and you can't have hearsay. Yes, you can't have hearsay in a judicial proceeding. I don't care what kind of proceeding it is. You can't have hearsay. So because I'm the woman who knows what's going on, and I know my rights, and I know how the system works, because I'm also the mother of a forced adopted son, I live with that pain every day. Forced adoption is nothing new, and they're still doing it. It's still happening. It happens all the time here in Canada, where they take your sons and daughters from you, and you go through hell. And if the child is highly marketable, if they don't come home, off they go. And so I've been through it. Like, I know how the system works. Like, there's no way that you're doing this to me again. This is what you did to me when you kidnapped my son. The same amount of abuse. Just absolutely unconscionable amount of, just malice and hatred and psychological torture. I mean, it breaches every single thing Canada stands for. And I call around looking for help, and there is none. This is, honestly, like, I go...
Obviously it sounds like an incredibly difficult situation that's, been going on for some time. And I have taken some notes, Victoria, because the seniors advocate did mention last week about abuse being on the, just how many seniors are a victim of abuse and wanted to know about it. So I have taken some, highlights of details about the situation. Whilst we don't get involved in individual investigation, there are, however, some referrals that we offer information and referrals to seniors in some difficult situations and like looking for support and help or services, etc. But I wondered if you are in Victoria, whether you've come across seniors entitlement services, Victoria.
No, I've never. I'm kind of everywhere all the time, so it's odd that I actually haven't.
Right.
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
Right. Okay, and just mentioning those, because obviously with what you've gone through and not wanting that to happen again, and having an independent, non-connected sort of party to be able to hopefully assist you. They're called Seniors Entitlement Services. They are in Victoria. They help seniors with, they do individual advocacy, and they do cover, legal is one of the areas, but they're also dealing with finance, housing and health, elder abuse and hardship. They look at sort of problem solving and system navigation, but they can make calls as well on behalf of someone. And I've known them to go above and beyond. The seniors with given situations, and they're sort of they're professionals from the different backgrounds there. They've got quite a lot of knowledge, but as I say, they're not connected with any other organisation. They're like standalone. So it might be worth connecting with them, Victoria, just because they're on the doorstep.
Right.
To be able to give you that support and that help on that individual basis. Everything we hear from seniors, for whatever the reason is, we do listen, we do document, we take notes, like I said, and we do inform the seniors advocate, because that helps to form the work that our organisation does, that the seniors advocate themselves can do, and he can then make recommendations to the government for changes on behalf of all seniors when they're sort of experiencing a given sort of situation. So we do monitor and analyse all these sort of services, but with abuse being is like a high priority because of the rise of incidences and reports and an increase in reports of abuse against seniors. This is like a high priority for us, which is why, as I said, he was on the radio and actually spoke to that, and then wanted to hear from seniors as well.
Well, they're wiping us out. I mean, we're targeted, and then they're They're targeting us, and then they're just stealing everything and then leaving you to deal with, well, like I say, in the last 10 months, SWAT team attacks 3 times because I'm fighting the corrupt, and the corrupt don't want to be fought. And so it's retaliation and it's discrimination, and both are an affront to Canadian values. You don't go around attacking the vulnerable. You don't attack women, you don't attack elders, and you don't attack our sons and our daughters, because, how are they going to fight back? I'm black and blue from head to toe. And then yesterday, they wanted me to go back down and involve myself in their act of fraud on the court, and of course, I'm not going to do that. I've explained this to you multiple times. So they issued another warrant. They issued another warrant when I told them not to. You have to withdraw your charges. You're not going to get another warrant. This morning at 7:30 in the morning, I've got a high-risk, repeat violent offender, and identifying itself as Nick Murray, who is an employee of the District of Saanich, back at the door, pounding on the door, disturbing the peace of everyone where I'm at, terrifying me. I'm terrorized now this morning again. I mean, I can't move. I'm terrified for my life, and I don't know who to call or who to talk to, because they're not listening to me. And the fact that they won't listen to me is absolutely unconscionable. That is the utmost in disrespect for a woman to speak to you again and again and again, and you not to listen to her. Because you've got guns and tasers and tanks and SWAT teams, and you can just continue to criminally harass. They're torturing me. That's a violation of Section 269.1. They fabricated evidence. That's Section 137 of the Criminal Code. And they're never held accountable. So this is why they just go and do this to, vulnerable men and women. I've had enough.
Like I say, yeah.
I've had it.
Especially, like you say, the SWAT team has been many times.
I've never had a gun. I've never had a gun in my entire life. Like, why would I be armed? Like, why would I? Like, there's no way. Like, I've got no history of violence. I've got no criminal history. Like, what? I'm a woman in my 50s. What are you doing? Are you stupid? Have you completely lost your minds? Your hatred is that great for my family that you would do that and embarrass yourselves and now involve me in your criminal behavior. And I don't need to be involved, because we have, cultural rights here in Canada. And in my culture, we don't go around acting violent and causing loss, harm, and injury to men and women who come and report crime to you. So, retaliation is discrimination. Everyone's supposed to be equal before and under the law. That's Section 15 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. But I tell you, here in Canada, you don't want to report crime to these goons acting as police, because they just lose their minds and become violent. And then waste your time. I've had another year wasted, another year of mortgage fraud, another year of not being able to go home, another year of having absolutely no money to live. I just had the storage locker folks out in West Shore ULOC auction off all of my family's property. And I'm like, you can't do that. It's my family's like, that's all I have left. It's everything I've ever loved. Everything in the lockers is heirloom property. I spoke to them for months. I said, that's a crime. Like, you just can't take over. I said, write it off. Write off the locker. You're a business. You have write-offs every year. I'm a businesswoman. I know how businesses operate. You just can't open up that. You've completely destroyed my family's dignity. You went through every box? Like, are you joking? That is the ultimate in violations. That's all I had left. And now they kept all the money. And of course, that's in-trust property. Like, my spouse created a trust, a will, that holds all the property, no matter where it's at. And I have the right to waive or to settle any claim. And I had to do that because I can't continue to live with no money. I can barely keep a roof over my head. And I can't get any help. Just more harm. And if this happens to me, it's going to happen to someone else. And that's why I'm saying something to you, because you do need to document all this, and I'm glad you do, because if this is happening to me, it's happening to others, where they're leaving vulnerable women homeless and destitute and just moving in because of the cost of housing. Because of the cost of housing, because it's so expensive now, and because we're easy targets, and they can just wipe you out and walk off with $750,000 like they did to my family.
It's a dreadful situation. situation and obviously incredibly difficult, Victoria. And if you can today, reach out to the Seniors Entitlement Services, just because also, the fact that, you've been succumbed to someone knocking at your door at 7:30 this morning as well. Best to alert them, Seniors Entitlement Services, so that they can then advocate for you and, be able to help on those sort of fronts that they can. And the fact that they, as I said, that they deal with legal, they deal with finance and housing, and also elder abuse and hardship. So they're very sort of experienced advocates there, ex-professionals. And let me give you the number, Victoria.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. I've got pen and paper right here.
As well. Lovely. Okay, so that's 250.
Yep.
388.
Yes.
7696.
250-388-7696.
Yes, and there's an extension number as well, which is 230.
Extension 230.
Correct, yes. And when you get through, just ask to speak to one of their advocates there, and they will then be able to, if it's not their particular area, say, of expertise, then they will have the advocate that is sort of be able to deal with that with you. That's obviously very, very, like I said, very, very difficult, very frightening for you, etc., with everything that you're going through. And it's key to reach out locally. And I think this Seniors Entitlement Services would be best suited to help you with the areas that they cover, Victoria. Okay?
I appreciate you. You poor thing, you must be completely traumatized by listening to this.
It's very hard. It just sounds very incredibly difficult situation with what you're going through and continue to experience. And that's, we just want you to be able to, receive help that you should be able to get. So get in contact with them as soon as you can, Victoria, to get that ball rolling. Okay?
Right. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. We've had half an hour, so I appreciate that very much. Thanks so much for the contact information.
Okay.